This is Lisa Hecklinger. This is my interpersonal communication project for HSCO 508 through Liberty University. Next slide. Throughout this presentation, I will go over my overarching goal, my background and behavioral blend, some communication barriers I've identified and possible solutions to those, resources and strategies for improving my interpersonal communication, and an action plan for the remainder of my life. Next slide. A little bit about myself. I am 52 years old. I've been happily married to Mark for over 28 years. We have 4 children. The older 3 are grown adult professionals, and the 4th, is a freshman in college. I have 2 degrees in psychology and education, but I've stayed home to be a homemaker and homeschool mom for the last 26 years. My husband and I love ministering, and we've been affectionately named Mama and Papa Heck by the youth we minister to. I have traveled a lot, and I've done ministry in other parts of the world. I am currently pursuing my master's degree in trauma and crisis counseling in an effort to more effectively minister to women and children in crisis situations. Next slide. My overarching communication goal is to become a level 1 listener and an effective talker who listens and speaks purposely, attentively, and with empathy so that my family, friends, co-workers, and those I'm ministering to feel heard, valued, loved, and affirmed. Next slide. Enlarging my conversation equals identified needs plus intentional resourcing. Near the beginning of the class, Dr. Maureen Nixon referred to enlarging my conversation as utilizing the skills we already have and enhancing them. I want to identify my areas of weakness and improve upon them with the knowledge I gained through this course, while being cognizant of the strengths that God has given me. In doing this, I hope to enlarge my conversation in order to better serve the Lord. Stewart said, "Communication is best viewed as the continuous, complex, collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making. Remembering this will enlarge my conversation." Next slide. So, background about me. I was born and raised in the state of Ohio. I was raised in a strong Hungarian, German, Swiss home where ethnicity was of great importance. My family owns a large corporation, so very early on I learned the value of hard work. When I was young, I was extremely quiet, most likely due to the fairly consistent discord that took place in my home. I'm from an intellectual, demanding, opinionated family where you had to be loud to be heard and definitely needed to know how to hold your own. I was taught to stand strong for what is right and never ever embarrass the family. However, I did just that as a teen. I became opinionated and outspoken like my family, but unlike them, I became defiant and rude. I went down a rough road for a few years and accepted Christ at the age of 22 and changed my life for the good forever. Next slide. In this class, we learned about the DISC model, which was first developed by Marston in 1928 and improved upon a couple of times before Mel's Carbonell added the faith component. We took a personality assessment, Uniquely You, in this class. There are 2 components of that we found out about ourselves. One is called This is Expected of Me, and the other is This is Me. Under This is Expected of Me, I tested as an ASI, or a steady influencer. Under This is Me, I tested as a competent, steady doer, or a CSD. I had a few questions about this, but overall, it was fairly accurate. Next slide. My DISC personality assessment results identified weaknesses and strengths that I possess. Some of my weaknesses include that I can be critical, that I can be a poor communicator in some situations. At times I struggle with fear. I'm not detail-oriented enough sometimes. At times I'm too serious and not positive enough. And at times I need to be more direct and demanding. Some of my strengths are, I am a balance of sensitive and dominant. I am sociable and friendly. I have strong people skills. I love both the crowd and the individual. I'm a great encourager, and I'm stable and determined. Next slide. Some personal communication barriers that I've identified in my life are giving advice instead of listening in a non-judgmental way. I can often be the interrupter, not letting the talker complete their thoughts, which could be an issue with my self-confidence. I often listen at a level 2 or 3, not fully concentrating on what the speaker is saying, and often mentally preparing what I will say next. Not using appropriate self-disclosure, and listening through filters, allowing past experiences to alter my listening experience. Next slide. Some possible solutions to overcoming these communication barriers are: I plan to hold back my so-called helpful comments without trying to think for the talker. I will give the speaker time to fully explain what it is they want to convey, while I employ mindful listening. I want to listen at a level 1 empathetic listening. I will employ some of Stuart's ways to empathetically listen, including facing the person, making healthy eye contact, and making sounds that are responsive in nature, such as I will self-disclose when needed and appropriate. I will also remove the listening filters that I've adopted throughout my life, which will require an openness on my part. Next slide. So what's my strategy for overcoming these barriers? My strategy is to use all of the tools that I have received from this course, especially the strategies from Why Don't We Listen Better by James C. Peterson, as I have already seen it help me. I liked it so much that I bought 3 extra books for family and friends. I will also overcome by using the Word of God. James 1:19 says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." Next slide. The most helpful resources I've identified in this course are most definitely from Peterson. Peterson's 4 basic counseling goals are to reduce emotional disturbance, to clarify thinking, to increase self-confidence, and build supportive friendships. These are things I want to remember. Also, the talker-listener card was vital. As a talker, I'm going to remember that I'm the one that owns the problem. I'm going to share my feelings and my thoughts without accusing, attacking, judging, or labeling. As a listener, I'm going to remember that I need to be calm enough to hear, that I don't own the problem, it doesn't belong to me. I need to provide safety, understanding, and clarity without agreeing or disagreeing, and without advising or defending. Next slide. My personal action plan is to take down the communication wall that I've built up over the years. I want to utilize research like that of Kwan and Joe, who found that verbally and non-verbally conveying empathy during counseling sessions has been shown to positively affect counseling results. I want to utilize the entirety of Peterson's book and the talker-listener card, as well as other class resources. And I want to reflect and restate during counseling, which Rodolenko found to cause the person receiving the counseling to feel more supported and affirmed. Next slide. The biggest reason for enlarging my conversation and improving my interpersonal communication are ministry, family, and friends, and nothing can replace them. Colossians 4:6 says, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." Thank you.